In this video, I will reveal the costs in forging procurement that never appear on your quotation but always appear on your bottom line. Two quotes sat on Mahesh's desk. He was a procurement head at an industrial machinery company and he was comparing vendors for a forged gear blank. Vendor A quoted 312 rupees per piece. Vendor B quoted 285. Same drawing, same grade, same delivery terms. On paper, vendor B saved him over 4 lakhs a year. He chose vendor B. 18 months later, Mahesh did something most buyers never do. He sat with his finance team and calculated what that component had actually cost his company. Not the invoice price, the total cost. Every rejection, every line delay, every expedite, every extra inspection, every hour his engineer spent managing problems. The 285 rupee component had actually cost him 339 rupees per piece. The cheaper vendor was more expensive one. The proof had been scattered across a dozen different cost heads where no one ever looked. Hello, I am Rahul Agarwal, Managing Director at Prestech Forgings and Engineering Private Limited, and I help procurement teams source forgings without costly mistakes. Here is why this happens to even experienced procurement teams. A quotation captures exactly one thing: the price of a good component arriving on time. It says nothing about what happens when the component is not good or not on time. And those failure costs do not land in the purchase budget. They land everywhere else. In quality, in production, in logistics, in engineering salaries. Each one is small enough to observe. No single line items trigger an alarm. That is what makes hidden costs hidden. Not that they are invisible, that they are scattered. The purchase team sees the saving. The rest of the organization pays for it in pieces, without ever connecting the bleed black to the sourcing decision that cost. And there is a second trap. Quotations are compared at a single point in time, but vendor performance is lived over years. A vendor who is 9% cheaper but deteriorates after 6 months costs you far more than a stable vendor ever would. The quote comparison cannot see time. Your operations feel nothing else. So what are these hidden costs and how do you account for them before choosing a vendor instead of 18 months after? Let me ask you the 6 costs that turned Mahesh 285 rupees into 339. 1. The cost of incoming inspection. A vendor with weak process control forces you to inspect more. Mahesh's team had quietly moved from sampling inspection to 100% checking on critical dimensions because they had stopped trusting the lots. That is an inspector's salary, gauging time, and floor space consumed daily. A reliable vendor lets you inspect less. That difference is real money that never appears in any quote. 2. The cost of rejections and rework. Not just the rejected piece, the handling around it. Segregating the lot, tracing the report, debiting the vendor, waiting for replacements, and the meetings. Always the meetings. Mahesh counted 11 rejection events in 18 months. Each one consumed roughly 2 days of combined engineer and manager time. Nobody had ever priced that time. It was being paid in salaries invisibly. 3. The cost of line disruption, the most expensive of all. When a forging lot fails at the machining stage, the line waits. Operators are idle, machines are idle. Delivery commitments slide downstream to your own customer. One bad lot can cost more in a single afternoon than the annual price saving on the entire component. Mahesh had 3 such events. His production head remembered every one of them. His purchase ledger remembered none. 4. The cost of expediting. When deliveries slip, you pay to recover. Premium freight, part load transport, air shipment in extreme cases, and expediting as a quieter twin. Management attention. Every hour your team spends chasing a vendor is an hour not spent improving something. Chasing become a weekly routine with vendor B. Routine chasing is a cost so normalized that most teams forget it is a cost at all. 5. The cost of carrying protective inventory. Within 6 months, Mahesh planners had quietly raised the safety stock on this component, not because demand grew, but because trust shrank. Extra inventory is working capital sitting on a shelf at any reasonable cost of capital. Protection against an unreliable vendor is a permanent annual charge that no quotation will ever show. 6. The cost of management attention. The hardest to measure, the easiest to feel. Vendor B consumed review meetings, escalation calls, recovery plans, and 2 facility visits to resolve quality complaints. Senior people repeatedly pulled into firefighting. That attention has alternative users, and the loss of those alternatives is a genuine cost, even though no accounting system will ever capture it. When Mahesh totaled all 6 against 18 months of purchase volume, the arithmetic was brutal. 27 rupee saving per piece has cost him 54 rupee per piece in scattered failure cost. He was not saving 4 lakhs a year, he was losing more than that, while his spreadsheet congratulated him. He moved the business back, and he changed one thing permanently in how his team buys. Every vendor comparison now carries a second column beside the quoted price called estimated total cost, built from the 6 heads using the vendor's actual track record. The quote tells you what you pay the vendor. The total cost tells you what the vendor costs your company. They are rarely the same number. If you want the simple total cost comparison format, Mahesh now uses 6 cost heads, 1 page ready for your next vendor decision. Send me a message and I will share it with you directly. And if your finance team has ever hinted that a cheap component seems strangely expensive to live with, show them this video. They are seeing the skated pieces. This framework assembles them. Thank you and see you in my next video.